Hey everybody, this is Stacy Jeffrey and this is another Reasonings blog recording. As I stated in a previous blog post, I will not be doing writing on the Reasonings blog anymore. I'll be doing mostly videos and a bit of commentary through the videos or via the videos. Of course, I'll be showing notes on what I will be talking about and graphs and pictures and so on, but predominantly the content I'll be sharing here will be video or audio. Alright, so today I wanted to talk about the United States of America election, US elections 2024, Trump versus Kamala, Donald J. Trump versus Kamala Harris. I know that a lot of Jamaicans have been following what was happening or has been happening since even probably the start of October, rolling in and observing the campaigns that have been going on. And of course, the American people went to the polls on November 5th, or the 5th of November, they went to the polls and they voted. Of course, there was also early voting, so I think as early as probably September, October, persons went out and started voting, choosing who they wanted to be their president-elect. And after a day or two of counting, Donald J. Trump was discovered to be the winner. So I just wanted to discuss that and how the process came about and everything. So according to the news, CNN other news, the president-elect Donald J. Trump got 312 votes for the Electoral College, and Kamala got 226. Now there are 538 electors, those persons who are called persons from the Electoral College. 538. Initially it was 535, but the District of Columbia got 3 more electors, so the total went up to 538. Now, to win the Electoral College, you only need about 270 votes. So you need to get to 270 votes and have that over your opponent to win. So that's the minimum number of Electoral College votes you need, 270. But as I said, Trump got 312 and Kamala got only 226. Right? The Electoral College is tasked with voting for the President of the United States and the Vice President. And I guess clearly they voted for Trump and J.D. Vance. Right? The popular vote, that's the besides voting for the Republican Party, Americans also vote for the person that they want to be president. So the popular vote was that Trump got 50.7% of the vote, while Kamala only got 49.3% of the votes. Right? Sources on X or Twitter say that Trump received 73,588,155 votes. So that summed up to 50.7% of the vote, popular vote. And Kamala, I believe, got a little under 70 or close to 70 million. Right? Because they say the difference between Trump and Kamala was about a little over 4 million votes. So yeah. I have in front of me a graph of the breakdown of the popular votes in terms of by sex and of course by ethnicity. So it says that white men, Caucasian men, 39% of them voted for Kamala, while 59% of them voted for Trump. So 39% voted Democrat, 59% voted Republican. White women were next on the hierarchy in terms of the most popular vote. Second tier, white women, they represented 37% of the vote. White men represented 34% of the vote, overall, right? So, you the 34% of the vote that was represented overall were white men, and that split in 39 for Kamala, 59% for Trump or Republicans. White women now, 37% of the total vote was white women, or were white women, and 47% of white women voted for Kamala. 52% voted for Trump, Republican Party. Black men, 5% of the popular vote. 78% of them voted for the Democratic Party. They voted for Kamala. 20% of black men voted for Trump. Black women, an overwhelming 92%, voted for Kamala, while only 7% voted for Trump, right? And black women only represented 7% of the overall vote, popular vote. Black men 5%, black women overall 7% of the popular vote. But they had 92% for Kamala and 7% for Trump. Latino men, I think this is one that has surprised a lot of persons considering the whole immigration issue. They represented 6% overall for the popular vote. 44% of the 6% voted for Kamala, while 54% voted for the Republican Party, voting for Trump. Alright, so yeah, the Latino men weren't playing. Latino women, they were also 6% of the popular vote. 61% of that popular vote for the Latino women, 61% voted for Kamala, and 37% voted for Trump. For other races, that would be Asian, Indian, Arab, Chinese, that kind of stuff, that kind of demographic, I should say. All other races, it says that 6%, 50% of them voted for Kamala, while 45% voted for Trump. So they're saying that the white men and the white women and the Latino men pushed Trump over the edge in terms of the popular vote, because of course white men, though they represented only 39% of the popular vote, they overwhelmingly voted for Trump. 59%. Women, the white women were 47% of the popular vote, but 52% voted for Trump, while 47, a bit more than the men, who were 39 for Kamala. 47 voted for Kamala, 52 voted for Trump. 20% of the black men voted for Trump. Small number, but still significant. But the Latino men, 54%. Yeah, they did their thing, yo. And the other races lumped into one. There was Chinese, Japanese, Arab. 45% of them voted for Trump. So that's quite interesting, right? I think the two issues that were hot button issues in this election were immigration and abortion. And of course, ever since the repealing of the overturning of the Roe versus Wade law, the American people have been up in arms about that. The case of the Roe versus Wade was in 1973, and it was originally filed in 1969 by a Norma McCorvey. She took the name Jane Roe, and that is why you have this whole thing about Roe versus Wade, because her name was McCorvey, but she changed her name to Roe to represent that case. And her opponent was Mr. Wade. He was a district attorney for Texas at the time. Right, so they brought the case to the Supreme Court in Texas, and it was said that her attorneys filed a lawsuit on her behalf in the federal court against the district attorney who basically was saying that no, that we're not agreeing with your wanting to have the right to abort your child. She already had 2 children, and when she found out that she was pregnant with the third child, she decided that she wanted to abort this one because she was saying 2 is enough and 3 is too many. Right? So it says here, as I did an article, I'm going to put the link for the article so you can have more information on that. She was living in Texas. Abortions are legal, except in the case where the pregnancy threatens the life of the mother. For example, if it's an ectopic pregnancy where the fetus is growing in the fallopian tube because it's not able to go down into the womb and be planted there. So in the case of the threatening of the life of the mother, that is the only way you are allowed to abort the child. So the district attorney was, saying, no, we don't agree with you going ahead and do what you want to do. So the District of Texas ruled in the favor of Miss McCorvey, North District of Texas, and said that, the abortion law is unconstitutional. So Wade and his team that's Henry Wade and his team went to the Supreme Court of the United States. Right? On January 22, 1973, the Supreme Court issued a 7-2 decision. So that's 9 judges on the panel, and the decision was 7-2. And they basically agreed that, the Constitution provides a fundamental right to privacy, and that fundamental right, also means that it protects the woman's right to abort her pregnancy. As they have the coining of the phrase, her body, her choice, right? So it says, okay, you have the right, if you feel like this child or this fetus is, going to be a problem, you have the right to abortion, right? The court, however, ruled that the right to abortion was not absolute and must be balanced against the government's interest in protecting women's health and prenatal life, as in the life of the child, unborn child. Right? So they came up with some rules to make sure that, abortion wasn't being done, even up to the point of being born. All right, so within the first 3 months, the state governments could not regulate abortion except that the abortion be done by a licensed physician. So up to the first 3 months, the states couldn't say no, you can't abort your child, right? You can't. But they can say that you have to make sure that if you're doing this abortion, it's done by a licensed, trained physician, of course, for the safety of the mother. Within the second trimester, up to 6 months, the government could now regulate the procedure, but only for the purpose of protecting the mother's health and in regard of fetal life. So if it's going to be a case where the fetus being born is going to be in jeopardizing the mother's health, or the child itself probably would not be viable outside of the womb, probably if the child was born for 6 months and had to be in NICU or in some way not breathing properly, it's a possibility if there's a defect in the child, the mother could go ahead and abort the child. Within the third trimester, that's up to 9 months, taking into account the last few weeks of the second trimester, governments properly regulate and even prohibit abortion. So they must say, why, by the time it's 9 months, the child is a fully formed human being, just to come out, just to be birthed. Right? The only exception of cases were if it would be a jeopardy to the life of the mother. Somehow the life of the mother was at risk, then, each state had the discretion to decide whether they would want to allow it or not. So, on June 24, 2022, a case was brought to a panel of 9 Supreme Court judges, and they reviewed the whole case, the original Roe vs. Wade case, and said that an egregious wrong was done, and the arguments used to justify abortion were exceptionally weak and damaging, and they said it was an abuse of judicial authority. Right, so they overturned the ruling and said that the states now should be the one to be given the authority to decide whether or not the the um, the mother could abort the child, right? So a few persons were upset about that, you know. California said, okay, you can come and have your abortions here. The state of Georgia and others were like, no, we don't want to allow certain things, and it was a big thing, where a lot of women were coming on social media, on Twitter or X, and saying, okay, you can take this pill to abort your child. If your state doesn't allow this, or you can cross the border and come over to California or another state that allows abortion, we will welcome you, and you'll have an opportunity to safely abort your child, right? So that was a hot button issue, and it was about, women were saying this is about women's rights. It's not about the fetus. The fetus being in our bodies growing, it's almost like a parasite. Some women have said that. I've heard that. I've watched videos on YouTube, and I've heard young women literally say out of their mouth, say, this thing is not really alive. We, using our bodies as women, allow it to live, and so if it comes out of our bodies at 14 weeks or 13 weeks or even younger, it's really and truly not alive, because it can't survive outside of the womb, right? Yeah, I've heard that. The other one was immigration, not just regular blue collar Americans, but even immigrants living in America, Latin Americans, as I said to you, with the numbers that I told you, 54% of Latino men voted for Trump, right? 37% of Latino women voted for Trump, right? So, immigrants have said, look, we want Trump to clean up the whole thing. They had this thing about Latin American groups called MS-13 and others, who they claim have basically, some of their members have gone into America, formed regrouped in America, and are now wreaking havoc on various states or counties or cities in different counties or different states in America. And of course, the whole thing of people just coming across the border at Mexico in a way that, there's no real tracking of who gets across. And of course, there's a claim of human trafficking, and the drug cartels actually trafficking people into the country. So there are persons who are saying, look, it's not just regular folks coming across who want a better life. There are criminals coming across. They're coming with drugs, and they're coming with guns, and they're coming with a bad attitude, and they're coming to take over territory in our country. And something has to be done about them, because they're coming in, we don't even know who these people are. And there have been reported cases of persons who were immigrants, illegal immigrants or undocumented, and they have stabbed persons, robbed persons, and injured them, raped people, in various, cities across America. No, I can't say that this is true. That's what I've watched and heard via the news. So that's what I'm saying to you. So those are issues that persons have, have an issue with. I think also the whole transgender gay rights thing, but not necessarily gay rights per se, but the transgender, where they're basically saying that a parent has no right to tell the state that they don't want their child to receive hormone therapy. If the child feels that they want to be a girl today, then it's not just a whim the child has. Is the child actually identifies as a girl, even though physically and genetically they are born a boy. Sex-wise they have a penis, but no, you want them to be a girl, because they might say they're confused about their sexuality and all of that. So a lot of parents were upset about that. And of course, even in the school system, there was this pushing of transgender rights, gay rights, and gay flag, the rainbow flag being put up in schools, and people, teachers who are supposed to know better, dressing up in women's clothing and going into the school and saying whatever it is that we're saying. And there are also reports of parents finding books with nudity in it and other things pertaining to transgenderism or homosexuality. Even I think second graders, I believe, got some little books that had pictures that depicted something like that. So a lot of parents were upset about that situation. And as I said, that the popular vote is basically the voice of the people speaking as to who they think is the most competent leader to lead them at a particular time. And at this time, they said it was Trump, 50.7 to 49.3. It might seem or sound close, but it's still a significant number. And the over 4 million that he got in terms of the popular vote, the electoral college way past the required mark, the standard that are required to prove or to show that you've won. The electoral college is 270, and Trump's numbers exceeded that. He got 312, and Kamala only got 226. So yeah, we have to whether we like it or not, we have to acknowledge that this man was voted by the American people. As I said, the breakdown is there. I'm going to share the breakdown of the graph in terms of the demographic: white men, white women, black men, black women, Latino men, and so on. So you can see what really happened. Yeah, what really happened. So people, whether we like Trump or not, we have to acknowledge that the American people voted for who they wanted, I should say. Who they wanted, what they wanted, they voted for. And, whether we as Jamaicans are happy about it or not, the fact of the matter is the people spoke. They have spoken. They've chosen who they want to lead them the next 4 years. And I believe the world seems to be happy. He's gotten congratulations from Russia and from other countries, and they're saying why they're willing to work with him. They can't wait to work with him. So we have to just accept it and move on and focus on what's happening in our own country. We have an election coming up next year in September 2025. Constitutionally, it's due in September 2025. That's next year, September. So let us see what our own political parties, our own political representatives are doing, and hold them accountable. Right? Thank you guys so much for listening to this long but elaborate and I think detailed and much needed recording. This is Stacey Jeffrey signing off. Thanks much.